In the book Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, Dr. Yuval Noah Harari posits that the acquisition of language was one of, if not the primary factor in the rise to dominance of our species, part of a cognitive revolution which took place around 70,000 years ago. And though we are uncertain of the exact cause, theories range from the introduction of psychedelic mushrooms to our diet to an accidental genetic mutation. The result was a sudden and significant advancement in our abilities to think and communicate, far surpassing the capabilities of our fellow animals. But we are not the only creatures that have language. Monkeys have different sounds for danger, a lion, and danger, an eagle, and the performing of these noises by one monkey will cause all of their fellow monkeys within earshot to find cover or scramble up into a tree, depending on which sound was called. But the monkey cannot say, danger, an eagle will come tomorrow, for the monkey lacks the faculty for displacement and can only respond to the immediate situation. The monkey cannot understand that the lion is carrying a rose because the lion loves the monkey, for the monkey lacks arbitrariness. In the age of heroes, when griffins roamed the earth and skies, many monkey lives were lost due to their inability to produce a new noise for that dreaded combination of lion and eagle. For the monkey lacks productivity, the ability to combine concepts and relate them in that form. Indeed, it could be said that the most prominent division between human and animal communication is the ability to move beyond fixed references, to speak about the past, present and future, to interpret a chain of signifiers based on cultural consensus, and to describe new concepts and things that only exist inside our imaginations, and to transfer those ideas from one imagination to another, and create a story or an ideology or a religion which can be revised and retold, then communicated to ever-growing numbers of people. That is not to say that semiotics are entirely absent from animal communication. The snow leopard, a big cat incapable of roaring, is a solitary animal that will usually not see another of its kind for most of its life. It communicates with its fellows using territorial markings, scrape marks and scratchings on trees, excrement and urine sprays, and by simply rubbing themselves upon features of the landscape. These indexical signifiers are not auditory, but visual, tactile, olfactory, and gustatory. They represent not just the presence of the animal, but its health, power, and thus mating potential. Another example is the dance performed by a honeybee that can relay the quantity and direction of a food source. Most fascinating about this, though, is that they can also relate precise distance through how many repetitions they perform in an allotted time. Although humans make little use of olfactory and gustatory modes in our actual languages, they can still signify things to us. Perhaps your colleague is a smoker, or your boyfriend has been eating asparagus. We also make regular use of visual effects, often to complement or reinforce verbal communication through body language. Arrangements of the facial features can convey anger, confusion, happiness, incredulity or arousal, among many other states or emotions. Eye contact, or the lack thereof, can aid the flow of conversation by specifying who is talking to whom and when, as well as drawing someone's attention, signifying comfort or discomfort, confidence or trepidation. Eye contact can be held as a challenge, such as the old prison movie cliché of not making eye contact with the bad men, much as dogs and wolves see eye contact as a challenge to their dominance. And yet, these gestures can have different meanings for different cultures around the world. For instance, the practice of raising one's eyebrows as a form of greeting, seemingly a universal trait that is often used without us being aware of it. It is usually reciprocated in kind, signifying that we are open to social interaction. In Japan, however, it is considered indecent, perhaps reflecting on the disciplined nature of their national character. It is also interesting that whilst the Japanese typically use very few, and even then small and direct, movements and expressions, cultures such as Greeks and Italians are, as the stereotype can attest, very animated communicators. It can be speculated that this attribute is derived from the ways in which public speaking is treated in their respective histories. Greeks, and through their influence the Italians, specifically the Roman Republic, are famed for their orators. Figures such as Pericles, Demosthenes, Marcus Antonius and Cicero are still known today based upon little more than their command of language. That is not to say that the Japanese place lesser value upon their own wordcraft, but they are a collectivist society that has emerged from a feudal and very much caste-based one. Contrastingly, Greece and Italy, having historically been cultures, specifically early republics and democracies, where the opinion of the individual was valued and skill in speaking was held in as high a regard as physical prowess, I think it stands to follow that some cultural embedding of more animated or physically embodied language should occur, enhancing clarity and emphasis, which are important components of authoritative language and communication. In conclusion, we could say that language is the structured use of communication, a subcategory of communication, and perhaps its most effective form, but only because it can be reflected on and refined by the human capacity for thought and cross-modal utilization.